Welcome back. You are listening to the home of forbidden romances. Prepare yourself, because tonight's story will leave you breathless. The metallic tang of arsenic is impossible to mask, no matter how much truffle oil you drown it in. I stared at the bowl of mushroom risotto, the steam curling into the cool air of the penthouse dining room like a phantom warning. My hands, resting on the mahogany table, trembled not from fear, but from the residual effects of the sedative I'd fought off for 3 weeks. Across from me, Julian sat with the poise of a predator in a bespoke suit, his silver eyes fixed on his wine glass, watching the crimson liquid swirl. He looked like a god of the underworld, beautiful, devastating, and utterly lethal. He had been my savior, pulling me out of the gutter when my father's gambling debts put a price on my head. Now, after 6 months of a marriage that felt more like a fever dream, I realized he wasn't my savior. He was just the one who wanted to harvest the prize for himself. "Eat, Elias," Julian said, his voice a velvet baritone that used to make my knees weak. Now, it just sounded like the tolling of a funeral bell. "You need your strength." "I'm not hungry," I lied, my voice rasping. The lethargy was heavy in my limbs, a leaden weight dragging me down. Julian's gaze snapped up, sharp and dissecting. "You haven't eaten properly in days. Do I need to feed you myself?" It was a threat masquerading as affection. I pushed the bowl away, the porcelain scraping loudly against the wood. "Why bother, Julian? The payout is better if I look sickly before I die, isn't it?" The air in the room vanished. Julian froze, his wine glass halfway to his lips. For a moment, the silence was absolute, heavy with the weight of the secrets I had unearthed in his study 3 hours ago. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his tone dropping to a dangerous whisper. "I found the policy," I said, forcing myself to stand despite the dizziness swaying the room. "The life insurance. $50 million. Double indemnity for accidental death. And the beneficiary? Not you. A shell company in the Caymans." I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "You drugged my food to weaken me. You set up the insurance. You're going to stage an accident, collect the money, and be done with the charity case you picked up." Julian stood up slowly. He loomed over the table, his expression unreadable, a mask of cold marble. "You went into my study. I wanted to know why my husband was poisoning me," I shouted, grabbing the table for support. "Was it all a lie? The nights? The promises?" "Elias, stop," Julian commanded, rounding the table. "Stay back." I grabbed the steak knife from my plate, pointing it at his chest. My vision blurred. The drugs were cumulative. Missing 1 dose didn't clear my system fast enough. "I won't let you kill me like a dog." Julian stopped, raising his hands. His face wasn't angry. It was pained. "You think I want the money? You think this is about greed? Then explain the arsenic." I screamed, tears finally spilling over. "Explain the policy." "It's not arsenic," Julian said, his voice cracking. "It's a paralytic derived from tetrodotoxin. Small doses. Just enough to simulate organ failure." My blood ran cold. You admit it." "I had to," he said, taking a step closer, ignoring the knife. "The Viper found us." The name hit me harder than the drug. The Viper. The syndicate leader who had skinned my father alive. We had fled the country to escape him. We thought we were safe in this high-rise fortress. "He knows we are in the city," Julian continued, his intensity radiating like heat. "He has men in the building. If he finds you alive, he won't just kill you, Elias. He will make you beg for death for weeks. He wants his debt paid in blood. So you kill me first?" I scoffed, though the knife wavered. "No," Julian growled, closing the distance. He grabbed my wrist, not roughly, but with desperate firmness. He pulled the knife away and tossed it aside. "I make you appear dead. The insurance policy is the bait. The Viper tracks financial records. If he sees a massive payout for your death processed through the underworld banking channels, he'll believe the job is done. He'll stop hunting. You expect me to believe that?" I whispered, my legs giving out. Julian caught me, pulling me against his chest. I could hear his heart hammering, a chaotic rhythm that betrayed his calm exterior. "I bought the policy to create a paper trail of your demise. The drug mimics death symptoms, low heart rate, pallor, shallow breath. I have a doctor on payroll who will declare you dead tonight. We bury a coffin filled with sand. And you vanish to the safe house in the Alps. Why didn't you tell me? I sobbed into his shirt, the smell of sandalwood and rain overwhelming me. Because you're a terrible liar, Elias, Julian murmured, burying his face in my neck. If you knew, your fear wouldn't be genuine. The Viper spies are watching us right now. They needed to see you wasting away. They needed to see us fighting. He pulled back, cupping my face. I have poisoned the only thing I have ever loved to save him. Do you have any idea what that has done to me? I looked into his eyes and saw the abyss there. The sleepless nights, the hollow cheeks I hadn't noticed because I was too focused on my own misery. I don't believe you, I whispered, though my heart wanted to. Show me. Prove it. Julian hesitated, then reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small, leather-bound notebook. It was worn, the spine cracked. I wasn't going to show you this until we were safe. But, read it. He shoved the book into my hands and walked to the window, turning his back to me as if he couldn't bear to watch. I opened the book. It wasn't a ledger. It was a diary. October 4th. Asterisk the Viper sent a finger in a box today. It wasn't Elias's, but the message is clear. He knows. I have to accelerate the plan. The doctor gave me the toxin. He says it tastes like almonds. God, forgive me. Asterisk October 12th. Asterisk I gave him the first dose in his tea. He smiled at me as he drank it. I went to the bathroom and vomited. I feel like Judas. But I'd rather be Judas than a widower. Asterisk October 20th. Asterisk he's getting weaker. He stumbled on the stairs. I wanted to catch him, to tell him everything, to throw the poison away. But I saw the black sedan parked outside. They are watching. I have to be cold. I have to break his heart so he doesn't fight me when the time comes. If he hates me, he'll leave without looking back. Asterisk November 1st. Asterisk the policy is signed. The trap is set. Tonight is the final dose. If I miscalculate the milligrams, I stop his heart for real. My hands are shaking so bad I can hardly write. Elias, my love, my soul. If you die, I follow. The gun is already loaded in the desk drawer. A world without you is just a cage. Asterisk the words blurred on the page. A tear splashed onto the ink, smearing the desperate handwriting of a man who was torturing himself to keep me safe. It wasn't a murder plot. It was a suicide pact with fate. He was willing to be the villain in my story, to have me hate him for eternity, just so I would draw another breath. I looked up. Julian was gripping the window frame, so hard his knuckles were white. The lightning outside illuminated his silhouette, lonely, terrified, and fiercely protective. Julian, I choked out. He didn't turn. The doctor will be here in 10 minutes. You'll drink the wine. You'll fall asleep. When you wake up, you'll be in a plane. I won't be coming with you immediately. I have to stay to play the grieving widower. I dropped the book and ran to him. I slammed into his back, wrapping my arms around his waist. He went rigid. You idiot, I cried, pressing my face between his shoulder blades. You possessive, manipulative, self-sacrificing idiot. Julian turned slowly, his expression crumbling. Elias, you were going to let me think you tried to kill me? You were going to let me leave hating you. It would be easier that way, he whispered, wiping a tear from my cheek with his thumb. Better you hate a living monster than mourn a dead husband. The Viper might come for me once the fraud is discovered. Then we fight him, I said, a new strength surging through the haze of the drugs. Together. No. It's too dangerous. I don't care. I kissed him, tasting the salt of our tears. You drugged me. You lied to me. You made me think I was dying. You owe me, Julian. And I'm collecting. Julian's eyes darkened, the cold predator returning, but this time, the hunger was directed at me, not to consume, but to worship. You have no idea what you're asking for. I know exactly who you are, I said, pulling his tie to bring his lips crashing down on mine. You're the man who would burn the world to keep me warm. And I'm not going anywhere. The kiss was desperate, tasting of wine and fear and salvation. He lifted me up, my legs wrapping around his waist, and carried me not to the dining table, but to the bedroom. The doctor. I gasped as he threw me onto the bed, his body covering mine like a shield. He can wait, Julian growled against my throat, his hands reclaiming every inch of me he thought he had lost. Let the Viper watch. Let them see that even death can't touch what belongs to me. The storm raged outside, but in the penthouse, the real storm was just beginning. We were two broken pieces of glass, fusing together in the heat of the fire. And as the lightning flashed, illuminating the diary on the floor, I knew one thing for certain. The world might want us dead, but tonight, we were more alive than we had ever been. And that is how the sacrifice became the salvation, proving that sometimes the deepest love wears the darkest mask. If you enjoyed seeing Julian tear the world apart to save Elias, destroy that like button. And tell me in the comments, would you forgive a partner who hurt you to save your life? I'll be reading your answers. Subscribe for the next chapter. Until then,